presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
These days, the Tigers offense is on a roll. They are averaging nearly 6 runs per game over the last 2 weeks. That is good for third in the American League. And tonight, the Tigers are back on the West Coast. It is game 2 in the series from Anaheim, the Tigers and the Los Angeles Angels. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Rod Allen. Glad you're with us here tonight for game 2. Good start to the series last night, Rod. 11 more hits for the Tigers. This offense now on a bit of a roll.
Well, as the weather has started to warm up, this Tigers offense has started to heat up. They have a new hitting instructor. That would be Lloyd McClendon, who preached doing a better job with 2 outs and also 2 strikes. And that's one of the reasons why this offense really has been lethal the last couple of weeks.
All right, it's the day we've all been waiting for. The return of J.D. Martinez. He's finally back, maybe a little bit before schedule, but he is in the lineup tonight, expecting good things out of J.D.
Well, the teammates of J.D. Martinez, they welcomed him back today, and they cannot wait to see them back in the lineup. Brad Ausmus, he finally has his starting lineup out there, the one he envisioned in the offseason. J.D. brings a lot of power. He drives in lots of runs, lots of clutch hitting. I'm looking forward to J.D. back in that Tigers lineup tonight.
All right, game 2 just minutes away, but right now we send you back to the Call Sam Studios and Matt Shepard. Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. And test drive a Jeep brand vehicle at the Drive and Discover event going on now. Game 2 in the series, and the return of J.D. Martinez, who is in the Tigers starting lineup tonight. It is presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. For the Tigers, it'll be Kinsler, Castellanos, and Cabrera in the top 3 spots. Victor, the DH, Upton is at left, and Martinez making his debut in right field. Avila, Romine, and Iglesias, and they are going to face Matt Shoemaker, presented by MGM Grand Detroit.
Career-wise, Matt Shoemaker has really good numbers against the Tigers, but he's struggling this year. In 7 starts, he's given up a total of 33 hits, and 9 of those have been homers. You can also see Shoemaker also walking quite a bit of batters this year. 18 walks already for him this season.
So the Tigers trying to get it started like they did last night. The Tigers got 3 early runs in the first and then 2 more in the second and never relinquished the lead. Ian Kinsler will get things started. Had a big night last night. His return to the lineup, 3 hits. Kinsler now at 228 as we start play tonight. Shoemaker starts the windup, and here we go. The first pitch is in for a strike called on Kinsler.
And Shoemaker's fastball will top out at about 93. He throws lots of sliders. He also throws about 30% split-fingered fastballs. He's got a good one. That's his out pitch once he gets ahead of you.
Grounded foul right by Dave Clark at third base. 0-2 on Ian. Kinsler coming in with 22 runs scored this year, good for 6th best in the American League. Doing what you want your leadoff man to do, get on base, and they've been able to drive him in. Now Shoemaker with the 0-2. That'll miss inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Ian.
And there was that split-fingered fastball that Shoemaker will feature quite often once he gets ahead of you, and you can see and that thing tumbled off the table. It's got a nice bite to it.
Here's the 1-2 offering. Kinsler fouls it back out of play. Shoemaker, 30 years old. You know his background by now. He is a Michigan kid. He was born in Wyandotte, went to high school at Trenton High School, and then on to Eastern Michigan University. But really didn't get a chance to show what he could do until he played some summer ball when a couple of scouts saw him, and eventually signed by the Angels. Yanked foul right back to the Angels dugout.
And Ian Kinsler getting a real nice look at Shoemaker here in the first, and so is Castellanos, who's in the on-deck circle.
Ian last night ended up 3 out of 4. The Tigers had 11 hits in last night's ball game.
And Ian also played some sparkling defense at second base along with Jose Iglesias, the shortstop.
Right back toward the second baseman Pennington on a couple of hops, and Kinsler is retired.
Let's take a look at the Angels starting defense. It is brought to you by Tim Horton. And left to right reads Maben, Trout, Calhoun. Third to first, Escobar, Simmons, Pennington, and Valbuena. And Maldonado is the starting catcher for the 2nd consecutive evening.
Trout was the DH last night, but he's out there in center field tonight. He's been bothered by a bad hamstring. He missed, what, 5 games or so?
Right. And their manager, Mike Scioscia, said that he would ease Trout back into action. That's why he DH'd last night, and tonight he's back in his familiar surroundings.
Here is Nick Castellanos. Nick 1 out of 4 in the ball game last night, and he'll take a strike at the knees. 0-1. Castellanos also walked in last night's game. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That'll ride inside and high.
And told you in 4 starts Shoemaker has against the Tigers, he is 2-1 with an ERA at 1. And not many Tigers have done a whole lot against him in those prior meetings.
Hopefully that will change here tonight. Swing and a miss.
Well, what did Brad say last night when he was asked about the dominance that the Angels have had here over his Tigers? He said, well, it's a new day. Getting ready for hockey over there at the Honda Arena, right?
Yeah. What's going on right now? The Ducks and Predators.
Big night down in SoCal.
Now Shoemaker ready with the 1-2. And he missed it low. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's a nice take right there by Castellanos. Lots of concentration there. And that ball stayed in the strike zone all the way until it got to home plate, and then the splitter action and had that ball tumbling out of the strike zone. But nice concentration by Castellanos.
Cabrera waiting on deck, just underway. 1 out, nobody on for the Tigers. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Castellanos is on number 2. Well, if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries.
Well, we told you that the Shoemaker has been giving up quite a few home runs already this year. He's already given up 9 home runs. So Tigers fans might be eating some curly fries tomorrow. Well,
we came close last night. Upton homered. Romine homered. Well, we fell 1 short. Here's Cabrera. And Miggy looks at a strike on the inside part of the plate.
He starts Miggy off with a split-fingered fastball. Everybody else, he tried to finish off with that pitch.
2:58 for Cabrera coming into play tonight. High towering fly ball center field straight at Trout. He is in his tracks, and it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Matt Shoemaker. Here come the Tigers and Jordan Zimmerman at the bottom of the first. The Big A in Anaheim, and the Angels will take their swings against Jordan Zimmerman, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Jordan has won 3 games and lost 1 because he's gotten a lot of run support. They're trying to get him on track. They're trying to get more consistency. He needs to be consistent here in this particular ballpark where the Angels play very tough against the Tigers.
Here is their starting lineup, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. For the Halos tonight, it's going to be Escobar, Trout, and Pujols. Valbuena is batting cleanup, playing first base. Calhoun is in right, then Maven in left. Simmons, Maldonado, and Pennington. Your bottom 3 tonight for Mike Scioscia. Angels couldn't do anything last night against Michael Fulmer. They did get him for 1 run, but basically all night, not too many base runners.
How good is Michael Fulmer, dude?
Michael Fulmer is about as good as it gets.
Man, he is legit.
He was dominating again last night. Here is Yunel Escobar to get things started. Escobar looks at a strike 0-1. He was one of the few Angels that did anything offensively last night. He had, in fact, 3 out of their 4 hits.
He's been swinging the bat well for them the last couple of weeks, Yunel Escobar. One of the things that I'd like to see Jordan Zimmerman do more of tonight, not try to overpower the Angels with fastballs. I'd like to see him use more cutters, use more sliders and curveballs, and an occasional changeup, especially to the right-handed batters.
That'll miss outside.
And right-handers have kind of had their way this year against Jordan Zimmerman, hitting well over 300, and that's just not his MO. And when he was with the Washington Nationals, he dominated right-handed batters.
Zim gave up 3 home runs in his last start against the Athletics, a game in which the Tigers led 5-2. There's a high fly ball into right field, playable. J.D. Martinez, his first catch of the year out there in right.
Well, let's set the Tigers defense for you while I have a moment. J.D. Martinez, welcome back. He's in right. In center field, you got Andrew Romine, who continues to get rep after rep, night after night. Upton's in left. Castellanos, Iglesias, Kinsler, the big fella, Miguel Cabrera round out the infield, and Alex Avila back in the lineup after about 4 or 5 days off.
And so is this guy, Martinez, for the first time this year. In a perfect world, the Tigers probably would have given him a couple of more days at Toledo. But with Jim Adduci going on the DL, JD is back. There's a strike on the outer edge to Mike Trout.
And Mike Trout had a 17-game hitting streak snapped last night, but overall this year, and putting up MVP numbers again.
Player of the month in the month of April in the American League.
A lot of stars in the ballpark. Trout, Pujols, Miggy, Victor, Kinsler. A lot of guys have made all-star teams. Guys have won Cy Youngs, Triple Crown winners too.
Hammer to the air to right center field. Romine is on the move, still going back, and makes the catch on the warning track in right center. Tremendous running play by Andrew Romine.
Romine has shown the ability to play anywhere on the diamond. He can play shortstop, third, second, or first, but when you put him in center field, he gets great jumps as he did right here and runs down. This triple is exactly what it would have been off the bat of Mike Trout. He takes a direct line and tracks this ball down, and he had to run about 60, 70 feet to run it down, making that real nice grab.
So Romine, who was a late addition to the lineup last night, was in there tonight from the get-go, and he makes a great play. Pujols sends one high in the air to center field. Much easier play for Romine, and it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Jordan Zimmerman. Good start. Both some players that have done some things.
Oh, they really do. I mean, we gave you some of the names, the Pujolses of the world, the Ian Kinslers, the Victor Martinez, the Miguel Cabreras. Those are the all-star selections. Trout as well. Lots of MVPs, Rookies of the Year, Cy Young, and a Triple Crown. So this is a star-studded series on the West Coast.
Here is one of those stars. It'll be Victor Martinez to get it going here in the second. Mike Trout hit a ball that looked like might be a triple, and Romine ran it down. Tigers and Zimmerman getting 3 fly ball outs in that first inning. Playing to pull on Victor Martinez, and a strike on the outer edge. Victor last night 1 for 5. He also had a walk, batting a solid .270 now. And Shoemaker darts one inside and low. 1 ball and 1 strike.
The last 14 games for Victor, when he has come to the plate, there has been runners on base 45% of the time. So just about every time he's standing in that batter's box, not now, but usually, and somebody's on the base path.
1-2.
And Victor, for the most part, has been picking them up.
Martinez now has hit safely in 5 in a row. And over his last 21 games, he is over 300 in that span, and that's why his batting average has begun to climb.
Yeah, a lot of the damage Victor's done lately has been the opposite way, and beating the shifts. And here's what Victor has done on this road trip. 75% of his hits have gone into either center field or the opposite way. That would be the left field. Majority of his at-bats have come left-handed.
So it begs the question, when do they stop shifting him if he continues at this pace?
Well, you would have thought that in the series in Oakland, and Bob Melvin would have stopped shifting on Victor, but he didn't.
Victor just got a piece of that one to stay alive.
Victor has some of the lengthy at bats as well. I mean, he will go up there, and it's nothing for Victor to see 7, 8, 9 pitches in any one at bat.
Upton will follow, and then J.D. Martinez here in the Tigers' second. No score. Shoemaker again with the 1-2. And he missed high and away. 2-2.
And usually when he goes up and away with a fastball, Shoemaker will come back with that splitter. I don't know if he'll do that to Victor, but that's usually what he likes to do.
Here's the 2-2 offering. High towering drive to right center field. Trout going back to the track, to the wall, and that ball is off the wall. Victor is on his way to second. He'll pull in with a double.
Another 2-strike hit for the Tigers. Man, Lloyd McClendon in spring training said he wanted these guys to really start to pay attention and to dial in with 2 strikes, and really to a man. With 2 outs and 2 strikes, they've done a much better job in these types of situations. And there's a split-fingered fastball that's right down the heart of the plate at 86, and you can see Shoemaker, as soon as he let it go, all he do is drop his head because he knew Trout wasn't going to run it down. Trout made a nice play getting it in, but not before Victor, and gets his 6th double of the season.
And now a chance for Justin Upton.
I just love the way that JF's been spinning the ball off his bat. Lots of carry, lots of backspin, hitting the ball a long way these days.
3-run shot in the first inning last night. And he'll take a ball high. 1-0.
Usually in this particular situation with a runner on second base and you've got nobody out early in a game, you want your batter to give himself up to try to drive the ball the opposite way, but I don't think that's part of J-Up's game. Well, we'll see what he does here. It'd be nice if he could do it, though.
In there is strike called. 1-1. Well, Upton now is homering every 14 or so at bats, which is among the best marks in the American League, as J.D. Martinez lurks for his first at bat, waiting on deck. Upton's home run total is at 7 this season.
He just looks like he's dialed in when he's taking pitches right now. I mean, that ball coming out of the hand of Shoemaker, it's almost like J-Up recognized it wasn't going to be a strike as soon as it left his hand. Big difference this year versus last year for Justin.
Only 9 RBIs last year at this point, 19 this year, and 5 more homers as well. Shoemaker now with the 2-1. He'll dive low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike. Shoemaker last year made 27 starts and pitched a career high 160 innings. Walks are up a little bit this year. And he's gone 3-1 now on Upton.
He's already walked 18 this year in 6 starts.
Upton with a healthy cut, 3-2. There's the ratio after 25 for Shoemaker. Shoemaker's walks per 9 was a little less than 2, but this year it's about 4, so he has pretty much doubled that. Tigers have a leadoff double here by Victor Martinez. Just got a piece of it, staying alive.
And maybe you didn't see this last night, but I spent some time with Justin Upton in the batting cage off the tee, and he talked about when he catches it just right, he hits it to center field, and lo and behold, 2 home runs on this road trip, one in Arizona to travel 450, and then last night he also homered straight away center field. He talked about backspin and getting carry on the baseball when he does it just right because he's practiced that length off the tee. And man, all that hard work is really paying off for Justin Upton early in this season.
And he walked in, ball 4. First 2 Tigers have reached. He'll bring up J.D. Martinez. J.D. was scheduled to stay with Toledo, but once Aducey went on the disabled list, he was called and took an early flight and flew out to the West Coast to meet his team.
Had a lengthy conversation in the Tigers clubhouse with JD. And JD said he's not quite 100%, but he played a lot of games in the minor leagues. He had a lot of at-bats down there, so he's been swinging the bat okay. The only question is that foot.
Bouncing ball, base hit, going to get into right field. They're going to hold Martinez at third. A seeing-eyed single for J.D. Martinez.
Well, not quite like the first at-bat that he had last year when he came off the disabled list against Chris Sale, but he'll take it.
A knock's a knock.
A knock is a knock. It's a fastball inside. J.D. pulls his hands in nice. He kind of fights it off past Pennington, the second baseman, who was over shifting J.D. Martinez. Tigers in business, bases loaded, nobody out, and Alex Avila, who has been unbelievably hot all season to the tune of a .360 batting average, and digging into the batter's box right now.
Double for Martinez, a walk to Upton, and J.D. with a single to right. Nobody out. Avila batting .360 on the year.
And Alex will be looking for that first pitch fastball. If he gets it, he'll be trying to hit something into the gap somewhere.
And Avila fouls it off right back to the Angels dugout. 0-1 on Alex, who has made only 1 start in the road trip, this being his second. McCann has seen a lot more playing time recently, with James's bat starting to perk up. But as Brad said before the game today, and got to find a way to keep Avila sharp. He's been swinging it.
Yeah, you and I were talking about that last night. When would Avila get another opportunity? Because the last thing you want is for him to cool off, because he's been so good. But I do think, and I like what Brad did with James McCann, running him out there 4 days in a row to get his stroke back.
Smothered behind the plate by Maldonado. 1 ball and 1 strike. Avila has hit 4 home runs this year, 13 driven in. And when McCann was scuffling offensively, it was Avila that stepped in. And here's the situation right now with the bases loaded, nobody out. Here is Shoemaker's 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2 on Avila. Tigers had 11 hits last night. We told you at the top of the show the offense starting to really come alive now the last couple of weeks. And they have a golden opportunity early in this one. Now the 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
So far, the Tigers have done a nice job in laying off the split-fingered fastball that Shoemaker throws about 35% of the time. And they know they're going to get that pitch. They know they've struggled against him in the past. And guys are having really good plate appearances so far this evening against Matt.
Swing and a miss, and Avila goes down swinging. That is a big strikeout for Shoemaker. First out of the inning, his second strikeout. The field conditions today presented by Ace Hardware and the Scotts Company. 64 degrees our game time temp. It was about 70 or so here during the afternoon. And another gorgeous Southern California evening.
Yeah, the West Coast swing weather-wise has been tremendous. Couldn't have asked for better weather, starting in Northern California, in Oakland, and then Arizona, now here in Anaheim.
Here is Romine. Andrew homered to the ball game last night in his first at bat, a 2-run shot off Ramirez. It was his second of the year.
Andrew is from Southern California, so I'm sure that he had lots of family and friends in attendance last night.
Now Shoemaker's 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 0-2 now on Romine. 320 career with the bases loaded.
Yeah, that one slam came this season.
Iglesias waiting on deck. Here's the 0-2. Bouncing ball slowly and foul down the first base line.
And we talked about the fact that Romine has 2 home runs this season, 1 a grand slam at Comerica Park early, and then last night in the second inning. With 1 runner on, Romine plays long ball down the right field line against the starter Ramirez.
Andrew has been used everywhere, literally on the field this year, but it's been his offensive jump that I think has impressed just as much. I mean, he made a fine running catch on Trout in the first inning.
Well, you can visibly see that he put on some weight in the offseason. It looked like Andrew spent some time in the weight room. And then he got a chance to play a lot in spring training because of the World Baseball Classic. Tigers missing some players. Romine got hot. He stayed hot.
Ground ball right side. Valbuena's going to come home with it. They'll get one there. And the bases remain loaded now with 2 outs.
It's a good play by Valbuena, who is not a first baseman by trade. He knows Victor Martinez is on third base. He also knows that's not a double play ball. So rather than trying to force the issue by going to the shortstop and then back toward the pitcher who was covering the bag, he simply took the easy route, the out at home plate. It's a nice play by Valbuena.
So the Tigers now will need a 2-out hit from Iglesias, who was 0 for 4 in the ball game last night, batting .220. They are loaded with 2 outs, a strikeout and a ground ball for Shoemaker, a chance to get out of this jam. In the air, shallow left field, and the Tigers are going to leave them loaded. No runs, 2 hits, a walk, and they lead 3. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Dallas Keuchel, man, he has really found his form again this year, hasn't he?
Well, it looks like he wants to win another Cy Young. That's just how good he has been, and he dominates the Yankees in the Bronx.
Mookie Betts 10 for 17, 9 RBIs in his last 4. And
Betts almost won an MVP last year.
He sure did. Billy Hamilton, 11 straight games with a run scored. He can run.
He's going to make an all-star team this year. Not only does he run in this year, partner, but he's also swinging that stick. Billy Hamilton's been on point all year.
Here is Valbuena to get things started now for the Angels. Tigers let Shoemaker off the hook in the first inning. They loaded him up but could not score. Meanwhile, the Angels had 3 fly ball outs in the first inning. Valbuena, Calhoun, Maben facing Jordan Zimmerman.
And C.J. Cron, who will get some time at first base, is on a rehab assignment in Salt Lake City, the AAA affiliate for the Los Angeles Angels. Because Valbuena is playing well at first base, they've left him down there a little longer than they've anticipated, but C.J. will be back soon.
Flare down the left field line, foul and out of play.
Valbuena is a third baseman by trade, but he can hit. And so guys that can hit, they find the spot for you.
The Angels this year have used 36 players. That is the second most in the majors.
And a lot of them pitchers.
Yeah, 21 of them actually.
Right.
So the injury bug has certainly bitten them, but it has as well for the Tigers.
Almost as badly as the New York Mets. New York Mets, man, they've had a horrible year too as far as the disabled list is concerned.
And Valbuena went around. Yeah, the Mets, they're dropping like flies.
They are.
Jerry's Familia.
The closer just went down. Yeah.
2-2 on Valbuena. He was on the DL briefly with a hamstring problem. And he sends one high in the air, deep into right field. Martinez going back to the track, to the wall. He is going to watch it go. Luis Valbuena with a solo shot here in the second.
That is something that Jordan Zimmerman has been struggling with since the beginning of the 2016 season. With 2 strikes, the slugging percentage against Jordan Zimmerman is .536. The league average is only .279. So the last couple of years, especially with the fastball, Jordan Zimmerman has been struggling. That's a fastball that is right down the middle. Classic uppercut swing by Valbuena, and it just carries out of here over the .365 sign. So he has no problem getting ahead of guys, but it's with the 2 strikes that opposing teams continue to do damage against Jordan.
Zim allowed 3 homers in his last start against the A's, and now Valbuena gets him here in the second. Here's Cole Calhoun. They will play Calhoun to pull to the right side.
When you go up against Zimmerman, you know for the most part you're going to get a lot of strikes. So he has had some of the best control in the big leagues since he came to the big leagues.
Meanwhile, the Angels continue to hit everything in the air, but that one left the field. Here's a line drive, fair ball down the right field line. Martinez cuts it off, and he will hold Calhoun to a single. That'll bring up Cameron Maybin. Also brings us to the Bernstein advantage, which is held by Zimmerman, career against Maybin. 182 lifetime against him. Maybin last night was 0 for 3. Just has not been the same player this year as he was last year in a Tigers uniform.
Well, when they acquired him, they thought they were getting a leadoff hitter because Cameron was so good for the Tigers last year when he was leading off or batting second at the top of that batting order behind Kinsler, but he struggled so much. Mike Scioscia has not been able to put him up at the top of the lineup yet. You know Escobar is leading off, and you know Escobar is not a leadoff hitter.
Tigers got a minor league pitcher, Victor Alcantara, who's at Double-A currently for Maybin. Calhoun draws the throw. 2 hits greeting Zim here in the second. The home run by Valbuena and the single by Calhoun.
Some of the issues that Cameron has been having this year, he's grounded out to the shortstop quite frequently, and right now would be another great opportunity to ground out to the shortstop, especially the way Iglesias played that position last night.
Iglesias was on fire defensively last evening.
8 assists last night.
Man.
He made every kind of play.
Runner goes. Here comes the throw down to second, and it's into short center field, but backed up by Iggy. Stolen base for Calhoun. His first of the year.
Hey, he got a pretty good jump. Avila had to throw that ball inside the baseline. Kinsler reached in but couldn't grab it as Calhoun slid by. Looked like the ball, he would have been out, but the ball was jarred out of Kinsler's glove by his shoulder, Calhoun's shoulder.
So now Maybin with a chance to drive in a run. Or at the very least get the runner to third. Three balls, no strikes on Maybin. He'll take a strike. It was a step or two toward the bag at first, but called back. Waiting on deck, Andrelton Simmons. Fouled off. 3-2 now. Zimmerman reaching the 20 plateau, had a fairly quick 1-2-3 first inning, 3 fly ball outs. and he lost it, ball 4, and Maben draws a walk, and the first 3 have reached for the Angels. Check in right now with John Keating. Keats.
Mario, here's a little perspective for you. JD Martinez was getting up to start his day about the same time Rod Allen was going to bed last night. 2:30 a.m. Pacific time.
No, 3:30.
5:30 in the East was his wake-up call, and then he had a 7 o'clock flight to fly all the way from one side of the country to the next after he got the call that Jim Adduci was being placed on the disabled list. And so JD Martinez has had a full day. He won't need the warm milk to pass out when this game and this night is over, guys.
Well, I'm sure he's glad to be here. The Tigers are certainly glad he is back, and you could just tell it in the locker room before the game today, Rod. There was a little bit of excitement with JD coming back.
Absolutely. You know, when they send you down to the minor leagues when you're a big leaguer, they give you 72 hours to report to the AAA affiliate. Usually that's where you're going. Some guys go to AA. But I've never, ever heard of guys taking 72 hours to get back to the big leagues when they get called back up.
Never, ever.
They rush to the show.
I am on the first flight out. There's a strike called on Simmons. 1 ball, 1 strike.
How about John Keating, man, telling my secrets, man? He can't tell the people what time I go to sleep at night.
But you know what? There's only one way he would know that.
You got that right.
If he got in at 3:30.
You got that right. Thank you.
1 ball, 1 strike. Maldonado waiting on deck. Swing and a miss.
Now here's where Zim just needs to take a deep breath and just concentrate on working at the bottom of the strike zone. Take a little off as he does here with the breaking ball. And if you get some weak contact, no doubt with the catcher running, you'll get the double play ball. Just no need to panic. Just make some pitches right here. He's got that 2 strike count again as well.
Lowered away. Simmons, while he is a spectacular defensive player and certainly is considered among the best at his position, has really struggled offensively this year. He is 0 for his last 15 right now.
I was asking a lot of people questions today, a lot of people that watch Simmons every single day, because I just had to know, can I mention Iglesias' name in the same breath? And everybody that I talked to said that you can absolutely mention Jose Iglesias' name in the same breath as Simmons as far as defense is concerned.
Well, last night was a veritable clinic for Iglesias. He made every kind of play last night. And again, Zim bounces one in all of a sudden. Now the count is 3-2.
Mike Socha is a very aggressive manager. Zimmerman not necessarily a strikeout pitcher anymore. You wonder if he'll allow Maben and Calhoun to take off on the 3-2 pitch with nobody out here. I know there was a time where that wasn't even a question with Mike Socha and his teams.
There is some risk with that, though, I think, with Simmons up there. We'll see. Runners hold, and it's lined to center field, a base hit. Here comes Calhoun rounding third. They're going to hold him there as Romine got to it quickly.
Yeah, there's that 2 strike count that I was referencing. And when Valbuena hit his ball out of the ballpark, for whatever reason, when Zimmerman gets ahead, he still gives up a lot of hard contact. And most pitchers don't give up hard contact once they've gotten 2 strikes on the opposing batter, especially the guy struggling.
Had they started the runners there, Calhoun scores easily, but they held him up with nobody out.
Well, he walked Maben, and Maben's been struggling, and he gave up a single on a 3-2 pitch to Simmons, even though he got ahead of Simmons. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Rich Doobie out to try and calm down the situation. He's got Maldonado coming up next, the number 8 hitter. Well, Shoemaker worked out of a bases loaded jam. Now we'll see if Jordan can. Maldonado 0 for 2 last night. He was hit by a pitch. Calhoun, Maben, and Simmons on the bases, 3rd to 1st. And now Jordan steps off. Leadoff home run by Valbuena started this inning, then a single, a walk, and a single. Stolen base mixed in as well. Ball one. One grand slam in Maldonado's career, but a 300 batting average with the bases loaded. Fouled back out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Angels came in hitting just .218 in the month of May. They have not been able to get it going offensively. And we told you last night they were limited by Michael Fulmer. Now many teams are, but the Angels had just 4 hits. Avila blocks it. 2-1.
Yeah, last 15 out innings, excuse me, for Michael Fulmer, just dominant. 8 against the Oakland Athletics 2 starts ago, and then last night he just simply overpowered this Angels offense. Heavy dose of mid-90s fastballs, real good slider. Didn't throw that many changeups last night, Michael Fulmer.
I guess he didn't really need to.
No. And there wasn't that many left-handers in the starting lineup for the Angels. Usually Fulmer throws that changeup to the lefties.
2-1 on Maldonado. Bases are loaded, nobody out. Another foul back out of play. 2-2. Maldonado was hit on the hand by a pitch last night, and it just didn't look good. It's kind of surprising, actually, A, that he stayed in the game, and B, he's playing tonight. But he's been able to shake it off. Here's the 2-2. Little pop up back a second. Back goes Kinsler. And he'll make the over the shoulder grab. Nicely done. 1 away. He had made that look easy, but that could be a somewhat tricky play. He quickly spun back to the infield, fired it back in. So now with 1 out, that's a start. Here's Cliff Pennington. Pennington had a single and 2 at bats plus a walk in last night's game. Again, everything has been hit in the air tonight for outs by the Angels. So Sim right now would love a ground ball. Oh, 0-1. Coming into this series, into last night's game, the Tigers had lost 17 of their last 20 in this ballpark, and it was very good to see the ball club jump on top of the Angels early last night and really kind of cruise to a win. Well, they haven't had too many of those in this park.
Yeah, the only way that you can beat this Angels team is you have to have that dominant pitching performance like Michael Fulmer turned in last night. What was funny, though, is the Tigers have beaten them 4 times in probably the last 5 years here, and Fulmer's done it twice.
Yeah. He had little trouble last night. One ball, 1 strike on Pennington. Former A's infielder.
You can just see a big difference in how slowly Jordan is working today versus the way that Fulmer worked last night. I mean, Zim taking 15, 20 seconds in between just about every single pitch. And Michael Fulmer last night was letting that ball go, walking right back to the top of that rubber and ready for the next pitch.
Here's the 2-1. strike on the inside part of the plate.
Good pitch. It's the first fastball that Zim has gone inside to a left-hander with, and it was 94. So pretty good velo on the fastball. It's a four-seam grip. You see it in the glove.
High chop back up the middle. Zimmerman has only one play, and he is out at first base. A run will score. Calhoun comes in from third. They just nipped him at the wire. RBI for Pennington. 2 gone.
Must have felt like an eternity for this ball to come down for Jordan. He finally got it, exchanged the ball to the throwing hand, and a quick flip over to Miguel Cabrera, who reached out to get the out. Or did he?
Or did he is right. The Angels are challenging this.
It's a good challenge by the Angels. He's safe. And I can go on record and say he's safe on that one.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I am.
You gonna take that chance?
I'm gonna take that chance on that.
You're rolling the dice here. I'm here to tell you.
Well, yeah,
I agree.
I know that.
He looks safe.
I know that.
He looks safe, but
if that one don't get overturned, they should get rid of instant replay.
well, it's a huge early call in this game because if it stands, there are 2 outs and a chance for Zim to get out of this with minimal damage. They called it safe.
It took 5 seconds.
That's an infield hit and an RBI for Pennington. Call is overturned.
Easy call for the umpires in New York. And that's another reason why you hit the front part of the bag when you're running down the line. The first part of the bag that you can touch, that's what you go for. And a lot of times you'll get the benefit of the doubt.
So the lead is 2-0. Bases are still loaded with 1 out. And here is Escobar. Flied out to right field in his first at bat. And he'll take ball 1. That call right there changes the complexion of this inning quite a bit. Originally called out by Mike Molinsky and then overturned. Bouncing ball to short, should be 2. Iglesias to second, 1, and a double play. Well, that came in handy. 6-4-3, Angels settled for 2. Southern California, the Angels have a 2-0 lead, but a huge double play ball turned by the Tigers infield. Well, the Tigers certainly have been missing some guys, and here a total amount of man games the Tigers have lost with J.D., Cabrera, and Kinsler, a total of 47 games.
Well, tonight is the first night that Brad has been able to write in the lineup that he was been practicing with all off season. And managers will do that in the offseason. They will write down lineups and they will tear them up and then write some more lineups anticipating what they might do when they get to spring training.
Shoemaker has the top of the lineup. Ian Kinsler getting it started. I know Jim Leland would do that a lot too, and I think most managers have fun doing that, especially when you know you've got a lineup that is loaded, and the Tigers have had one the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think Brad was contemplating who might be his number 2 hitter. I think that might have been the only spot, the only real question as to what he might do. You knew Ian was going to lead off. You knew Miggy was going to bat 3rd. You knew Victor would be 4th. Upton, J.D. 5th or 6th, depending on who's hot, who's not.
Kinsler 0 for 1 with a ground out.
Really no need to panic. Tigers down by 2, but Shoemaker's been giving up a lot of runs this year.
Fly ball right field. Calhoun. One gone. By the way, stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by McDonald's. Stop by for your breakfast favorites, now being served all day. One away for Nicholas Castellanos. Nick struck out in the first inning.
He's got some length on that beard, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's getting longer too. But
I wonder if he's going to grow that thing out all year.
Doesn't matter. He can do whatever he wants.
And the way he's pitching, you're absolutely right. He can do whatever he wants. But he's got some length on that thing. Used to be guys that grow beards at the end of the year and right before hunting season. Nowadays, they just keep them year round.
No, fashion statement now. 0-1 on Castellanos. Nick drives this one foul. I got to the ballpark early today, and Nick was out there with Matt Martin, who is the Tigers defensive instructor, and they were working on some defense. They were also working on a drill where they set up a screen behind Castellanos, and Martin would throw in baseballs. Nick would never swing. Is that basically just trying to track the ball?
Yep, pitch recognition. And Nick might feel like he's been leaving the strike zone a little bit more frequently than he was earlier in the year. And so therefore he'll simply practice that, and that's a good indication of him taking a borderline pitch right there. He also did it in his first time up.
Now Martin would even throw some in the dirt, and Nick, his whole job there was to track the ball. The 1-2 is swung on and missed. He looked like he didn't want to swing. 2 away.
Second strikeout of the night for Nick.
Here is Chevrolet's most dependable player, as you have Miguel Cabrera strolling in. These are 2 guys since 2012 that have been lighting up the offensive numbers.
And they've also won 4 of the last 5 MVPs because of their numbers, their WAR numbers, their OPS, their RBIs, you name it. A lot of damage done between these 2 players, and they're totally 2 different players. I mean, Miggy obviously is a tremendous bat with power, RBIs, and Trout. He gets it done with his legs and with his bat.
WAR, of course, is the analytic wins above replacements that has become much more prevalent now in the game last few years, and a good way of determining
Player's value.
a player's value.
Well, he's valuable. Number 27.
Yeah, we don't need to look at the WAR numbers for that, but here they are.
All 5 of those guys are outstanding players. McCutchen took a step back last year, but I expect Andrew McCutchen, who plays for the Pittsburgh Pirates, to have another good season this year.
By the way, if you want to learn more about advanced metrics and all the sabermetrics and stats that we are seeing more and more of in baseball, tune in on Tuesday nights. We'll have a show dedicated to that. And we'll do a little teaching along the way. You and I will learn something too, Rod.
Oh, for sure.
There's a strike called on the outer edge.
There is so much to learn these days as to why general managers construct their teams the way that they do and some of the players they acquire. It's not like it used to be.
No, sir. Look out. That ball was headed straight back, and fortunately, the top of the screen
It was
stopped
coming.
that.
It was coming this way. We got one yesterday that came up here that was awfully hot, too.
It was Miggy, too, wasn't it?
It was Miggy.
It was
absolutely,
Miggy, and
yeah.
that thing came shooting straight back and actually put a hole into the wall up and behind us.
Yeah.
And that thing was headed right for us.
You got to keep your eye on the ball here.
Especially with this guy up. Three and two. There's the wall in the back.
The ball hit right. Just
there it is right there. There's a few of them back there, actually.
Yeah, there is.
We're not the only one dodging bullets up here. There's the line drive to left and a base hit. And Cabrera's aboard with a 2-out single.
And Tigers just need to be patient and get some balls up in the strike zone and not try to do too much. And Shoemaker will give them an opportunity and to score a few runs here tonight. Told you that Shoemaker has been very good against the Tigers in his career. An ERA at 1 in 4 starts.
A couple of years ago, he was second in the Rookie of the Year voting. That was in 2014 when Jose Abreu won it. He won 16 games that year, but Shoemaker was a 27-year-old rookie. Now Victor Martinez. Strike on the inside part, and Victor not so sure.
Yeah, they always shift on Victor. And you can see where the defenders are. And one there, one there, one there. What do you think of my circles?
You know what? They're picture perfect.
Love
and they're orange, too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Tiger colors. They match the uniforms.
And Victor looks at a ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
If they continue to play Victor to pull and throw him away, Victor is not afraid to take the hit the opposite way. He's done a ton of it this year already.
Two-base hit got things started in the second when the Tigers loaded him up with nobody out, but Shoemaker found his way out of that jam. Slap foul out of play. 1-2 on Martinez. Vic up to 276 now, so the average continues to climb north. And he also has a 6-game hitting streak. It took him a little while to get going this year, though.
It really did. I don't know why it took Victor long, because he was playing competitive games in spring training, because he was getting at bats playing for Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic.
Oh. Got him. Strike 3. Victor didn't like it.
Oh.
Top part of the strike zone. Shoemaker catches him looking. 4th strikeout of the game for Matt Shoemaker. 10-4 on the road this year. Minnesota continues to surprise.
They really are surprising, and that has to be the surprise team of the majors so far this year.
I would agree with that. Mike Trout leads it off, and he looks at strike one.
They performed so well in 2015 under their first-year manager, Paul Mollinger. Then they took a step back and lost 100 games again last year. But they've regrouped, and they're playing good baseball, competitive baseball.
Miguel Sano's having quite a year.
Oh, he's a beast.
Ball one to Trout, 1-1.
And their center fielder, Buxton, he has started to perform a whole lot better. He was struggling, swinging, and missing a lot when we were there. But he got hot after we left, and he's a human highlight film on the defensive end of the ball.
Trout fly to center in his first at bat. A terrific running catch by Romine, who robbed him of at least a double, probably a triple.
A dangerous count here for Zimmerman if you decide to throw Trout a fastball. If you do throw him a fastball, you might want to go above the belt buckle. Don't go down in the strike zone. He is lethal down there.
Swing and a miss.
That's exactly where you can get Mike Trout. You have to go right where Zimmerman just threw that last fastball, and you might want to go a tick higher here again to see if you can get another swing and miss. Don't go down.
Fouled it away.
Trout is also a really good breaking ball for a guy that's still relatively young in the big leagues. He's an outstanding breaking ball hitter.
Well, the Tigers have handled him for as good as he is. Last 21 games, a 157 average versus Detroit. That's pretty good.
That's really good.
I mean, he's put up some huge numbers. That'll miss outside, and the count fills now 3-2 on Trout. Zim was able to get a double play ball at the bat of Escobar with the bases loaded in the second. And the Angels settled for 2.
Zim working all over the place against Trout. Up and away, up and in, down in the strike zone. He's everywhere.
Popped up a mile high. Shallow left field. Upton comes racing in, waiting now. And Trout is out. He's 0 for 2. One gone. Tigers host the Rangers on Saturday, May 20th at 7:15. Former Tigers catcher Ivan Pudge Rodriguez will take part in a pregame session. It'll be a Q&A session at 5:45 in the Big Cat Court. Part of the Alumni Saturdays in Comerica. If you'd like tickets, go to Tigers.com or 866-66-TIGER.
And Pudge Rodriguez, when he signed the free agent contract in 2004 to come play for the Tigers, he changed the culture of baseball there.
Tigers then got on a roll. They got to the World Series in 06.
They started acquiring some good players after Pudge was signed by Mr. Al Illich and Dave Dombrowski. Maglio came along, Carlos Guillen, Polanco. They started to trade for some players, and players wanted to come to Detroit, whereas before that, they didn't want to come.
1-1 on Pujols. Albert flying to center field in his only at bat.
And with the new district in Detroit now, it's going to be a whole lot of players that want to come to the Motor City.
Big time. Chopped to third deep behind the back. Castellanos one step on the grass. Got all day to throw out Pujols. 2 gone.
And Jordan could use a 1-2-3 inning.
Here's Valbuena, who touched him up for a home run. That led things off in the second. 2 runs on 4 Angels hits. Tigers no runs on 3 hits. They got him play to pull, and the home run hit by Valbuena went to right field. Ball 1.
Valbuena actually had a pretty good year a couple of years ago for the Chicago Cubbies. But he was just keeping third base warm until Chris Bryant arrived on the scene. Hit a lot of homers that year.
I've heard of him.
Good player, MVP last year in the senior circuit, Chris Bryant.
Valbuena with the Astros 2 years ago hit 25 home runs. Career high.
It was the Astros.
With the Astros, yeah. 14. He was with the Cubs the year before that. Here's the 1-2. And that Astros team off to a nice start out in the West.
They've got everything, and they've got youth, they've got athleticism, they've got power pitching, they've got good bullpen. They're heavy in analytics. Right now, the Houston Astros are a really good baseball team, but a lot of the experts out there predicted that they would be a really good team this year. Also, if you're the Houston Astros, you missed the postseason last year by an eyelash, and they got off to a horrible start. They're getting off to a better start this year.
Here's the 2-2. Low, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, I know we tend to say in the month of April and even in May, hey, it's still early. Don't worry about it. We've got plenty of time. But when you get off those quick starts, man, you can bury some teams.
Well, that's why Brad really had to do something with the closer's role when Frankie struggled. He saw some games getting squandered away. He knew his team missed the postseason last year by just 2 games.
Swing and a miss, and down goes Valbuena. Zim bouncing back with a 1-2-3 third.
Anaheim, home of Disneyland, where goofy things happen. Well, something goofy happened this afternoon. I don't think we've ever seen this. There was a collection of bees, a swarm of bees, hundreds of them, that took refuge in the netting in one of the batting practice screens, and they had to call in an expert who had no gloves, by the way. So when you say there's a buzz around the ballpark, Mario,
Terrible. Just terrible, Keats.
Yes, with a capital T.
with that.
By the way, when they show video and television, what's that called, Keats? B-roll. Get it, B-roll. I'm here all night.
Yeah. It's a collection of groans. We're grown television here.
John didn't
Not
have time,
grown up.
John didn't have time to write that one up.
Yeah.
All right, here is Upton. Getting things started here in the 4th inning. Upton, Martinez, and Avila. And a wave and a miss by Jay Up. No balls and 2 strikes. Two runs on 4 hits for the Angels. No runs, 3 hits for the Tigers. Well, they had their opportunities early. Trying to get to Shoemaker here in the 4th now. Upton walked in his only at bat. There's the strike called. Got him looking.
It is now time for cricket, something to smile about, and boy, did J.D. Martinez provide that for us last year when he came off the disabled list.
goes pinch hitting. J.D. Martinez getting a standing O.
How about this place?
Sale goes to work. Swing and a drive! Deep left center field! And gone! Welcome back, J.D. Holy cats.
Only all 40,000 people here in attendance are on their feet.
I don't believe it. The most electric moment, at least in my estimation, of last year. J.D. Martinez coming off the DL and doing that to Chris Sale.
I would not disagree with you one bit. Chris Sale was lethal that night, 96, 97. He took the first pitch and hit it 440 feet.
Right off the DL, too.
The straightaway center field.
Unreal. Well, Martinez hit his first at bat tonight off the disabled list. Not nearly as dramatic, but he singled to right field. J.D. last year played in just 120 games because of the injuries that kept him on the disabled list. Broke his elbow last year. There's a check swing foul.
And J.D. talked about the back foot and the foot that he injured in spring training. And one of the things that he said that back foot, because he rotates so viciously from that back side, that's the one foot that's still giving him some problems when he does decide to lift the heel and turn. He said he did everything else in the minors. He slid, he ran the bases, he played some defense, but he says when he swings, because he's so powerful in his swing, that foot still gets really sore when he takes lots of swings.
Yanks that one foul.
And as a hitter, really, that's one of the most important parts of your body in your swing is you have to be strong from the waist down. If you come off of that front leg, if you get on that front foot too soon, you're not going to be able to generate power because you're on that front foot. So therefore, for JD to be JD, he has to start to really stay back on that back side.
Here's the 1-2. Fouled straight back. There's no denying what Martinez means to this lineup. 20 home runs or more, 3 straight seasons. Last August, after he came back off the disabled list, hit over 400 that month.
Not to mention all the damage that he does in run-producing situations, high leverage situations. He's been the man.
83 homers his last 3 years. Busted him inside there. 2-2. JD stays alive. Alex Avila will be next. Angels got 2 runs in the second. Home run by Valbuena. Infield RBI single by Pennington. And again, Shoemaker is 2-2. Swing and a miss. Martinez is out.
Shoemaker has 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, 6 of them.
Sorry.
Hey, by the way, Tigers fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app, take Fox Sports Detroit and Tigers baseball with you wherever you go. Did I give him one too many, or is that right?
No, you're right.
Okay.
I shortchanged him.
Here's Avila. Alex, one of those strikeouts, and that was back in the second.
Tigers struck out 9 times in last night's game, and in those 2 games in Arizona, they struck out at least 10 times in both of those games.
Shoemaker now has retired 8 of his last 9 since the Tigers loaded the bases in the second. Fouled away. Mentioned that Shoemaker went to Trenton High School, and there have been a couple of guys that have gone to the big leagues out of Trenton High School. Anthony Bass, J.J. Putz.
Heard of him.
Yeah, he had some pretty good seasons, or had as a closer.
And J.J. Putz works for the Arizona Diamondbacks now in their front office. He went to Michigan too, didn't he? Putz. Oh, you would. Sorry about that. Man, I didn't mean to ask you that. I'm sorry. He went to Michigan.
Yes, he did, Rod. He went to Michigan. 1-2 on Avila. Shoemaker also went on to play at Eastern Michigan, which of course was the university where Terry Collins, the skipper of the Mets, attended, played. Now the 1-2. Up and in, and Avila backs out of the way. Win the fourth in game 2 in this 4-game series. Tigers and the Angels, 2-0 Angels, after the Tigers scored a 7-1 victory last night. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Shoemaker strikes out the side, and he is banned 7. It's brought to you by Bell Tire. For tires and auto service, everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. And by Chevrolet, the most awarded car company 3 years in a row. Hot Magic Kingdom, Disneyland here in Anaheim, California.
I bet you've been there a lot of times, working here for a number of years with small kids.
But you know what the funny thing is, Rod? We used to bring our kids to Disneyland like once a week, and it got to the point where they said, "Oh, do we got to go to Disney again?" Can you imagine that?
I can imagine that.
People around the world would just
they want to go.
Kill to go there.
Yeah, your kid's like, no, I don't want to go.
I'm good.
That little fella's enjoying something down there.
Corn dog?
Corn dog. Double fisted.
Yeah, that's right. Here's Cole Calhoun. And Zimmerman back to work here in the fourth. It'll be Calhoun, Maben, Simmons. Angels lead 2-0. Single steal, run scored for Calhoun. Drills this one towards center field. That's going to drop. Base hit. That is his second hit tonight. Leadoff man on.
And you got to keep him close. He's already stolen one base today. He stole that base back in the second inning.
We talked about how Mike Scioscia just loves to run, always has as a manager. The Angels are fourth in the AL in steals. got his first of the year in the second inning.
Socha was an outstanding big league catcher. And now as a manager, he just knows how hard it is to defend against teams that play aggressive baseball, teams that like to run, teams that like to hit and run, teams that like to go first or third and put pressure on the defense. In the first 10 years of his managerial career here in Anaheim, he had those teams. He had some rabbits.
He did.
Lots of switch hitters. They played a fast game of baseball.
Maven had a walk in his first at bat as again they chased Calhoun back.
At one time, Mike Socha was managing and had 4 switch hitters in the infield. Kendrys Morales was at first. Izturis was at second, switch hitter. Ibar was the shortstop. He was a switch hitter, and he could run. And then they had Sean Figgins at third.
Strike called on Maven.
And he used to put some pressure on people.
Sean Figgins was not your prototypical third baseman, but he could wreak havoc.
Well, he one year he kind of played him everywhere, and he played so well as a utility. They just found a place for Sean to play every day.
Bouncer back up the middle. Iglesias. He'll flip to second. One relay is not in time. Good pick by Miggy. We'll see if the Tigers challenge here. Bang bang play.
And Cameron has been grounding out to the shortstop quite a bit this year, and I told you that. Iglesias gets to Kinsler. Kinsler bounces it over to Miguel, but for now, a safe call. No challenge by Ausmus.
So it'll be a fielder's choice. 1 on, 1 out, and here is Simmons.
You must keep an eye on Cameron as well. He's not performing all that well from an offensive standpoint, so you know he wants to do something against his former team, and that would be stealing a base.
Maven is a Tiger. Last year stole 15. Simmons had a single in the second. Taking too long. Jordan Zimmerman out there, and so Simmons steps out. So Maven has 6, and he has not been caught this year. Ball low. 2-0 now, and the number 7 hitter, Andrelton Simmons. He broke in with the Atlanta Braves, played 4 years with Atlanta, won a couple of Gold Gloves there. Runner bluffs and a check swing roller foul. Maven had a couple of steps and then put on the brakes. Zim had a quick 1-2-3 third, but he's given up a base hit here. And again, Maven chased back. We're talking about the Angels in their successful years. They had a stretch in which they went to the postseason in 6 out of 8 years. They won the World Series back in '02.
Yeah, many people believe that that particular time that Socha was, if not the best, he was in the top 2 or 3 managers in the sport at that time. He was basically given a lifetime contract from the owner, Artie Moreno.
He's got 18 seasons. here in Anaheim.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often. Managers sticking around that long.
The Dodgers let him get away. Because many thought that he would be managing the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was in AAA with the Dodgers before he took this gig with the Angels.
Runner goes and a ground ball to third. And Castellanos throws out Simmons, advance the runner with 2 gone. It'll bring up Maldonado. Angels, though, have not been to the postseason since 14. They lost in the division series, 3-0. Maldonado is 0 for 1. Popped up with the bases loaded back in the second. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball there from Zimmerman. Now the 0-1. It's going to flare down the right side. It's going to drop there. And this will get a run in. Maldonado goes to second and dives in with a bloop double to make it 3-0 Angels. Two-out hit, scores a run.
Well, you knew it was going to be trouble as soon as it left his bat. That's not a bad slider. It's down, it's away. It's a big swing by Maldonado. And the ball hit right off the end of the bat. And Miguel Cabrera, nor could JD Martinez run it down.
It'll be the 6th hit of the game now for the Angels. They lead 3-0. Here's Cliff Pennington. Infield single, knocked in a run his last at bat. Strike 1 on Pennington. Veteran guy's been with Oakland, Arizona, Toronto. And a guy like Romine has played a lot of different positions. Short, third, left, second. Fouled away. Now it's 0-2. Jordan on to throw his 69th pitch. He has had a pair of 1, 2, 3 innings. Here's the 0-2. Little half swing there to Iglesias. Quick throw is in time for the out.
Boy, does he have some fast hands.
Angels get a run to make it a 3-0 ball game. Romine will be leading things off when we get to the 5th. Some differences in his swing. Seymour explains when we come back. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. He's had a really good start and really has been a savior of sorts for the Tigers. All the injuries they've had, they played him in multiple positions, and he's played extremely well.
He is playing the game with a whole lot more confidence, but that goes hand in hand when you get more playing time, and I think he gained that valuable confidence in spring training where Brad basically played him every single day.
Romine skies this one in the air to left center field. Trout is on the run. That ball is going to carry out to the warning track.
So far, the Tigers have not been able to figure out Shoemaker.
10 of 11 have been retired by Shoemaker.
And he has struck out 7 here today.
.53 strikes, 23 balls of the 76 that he has thrown.
His next strikeout will give him a season high. And struck out the Kansas City Royals 7 times and also the Houston Astros 7 times.
Now Iglesias. Fly out to left field back in the second. Shoemaker struck out the side in the fourth.
And something else that Shoemaker has done a nice job of today, getting ahead of the Tigers hitters. 13 of 18 in first pitch strikes, which means he can expand the strike zone with a mixture of breaking balls, curve balls, and split fingered fastballs, which is exactly what he's done.
One and two. Talking to Iglesias before the game today about his defensive performance last night, and he said he can't remember a game in which he had that many difficult plays and really a game that he played that well in defensively.
He was money last night.
I mean, he would have like a highlight or two, but man, to have as many assists. Popped up. See if it stays in play. Valbuena has room to gone. Top of the order now, Kinsler. First and only trip into Angel Stadium this year for the Tigers. Their first West Coast swing has brought them through Oakland, Arizona, and now Anaheim. Angel Stadium is the scene.
Tigers have 3 trips out west this year. They'll head to Colorado a little bit later on this year, and they also have a trip to San Diego.
The trip to San Diego, I think, also includes Seattle.
Seattle, right?
Yeah. Kinsler, a ground out and a fly ball. One ball, one strike. Ian had 3 hits last night, was 3 for 4. Just missed. Kinsler is a member of the Rangers, played the Angels a lot. They were in the same division, so he's had a lot of at-bats against the Angels. 22 career home runs versus Angels pitching. Fly that one in the air to right field. Calhoun going back, still going back. And it's going to be another 1-2-3 inning for Shoemaker. Still a 3-0 ball game, and you're watching Tigers baseball, presented by Bell Tire.
Game summer, the Tigers squandered a golden opportunity in the second inning. They had the bases loaded. Shoemaker struck out Avila. And then it was Romine grounding into the 3-2 put out, and the final out into the outfield. Then Valbuena and led off the second with a home run. They went on to score one more run in the last half inning on a bloop double, off the bat of their catcher Maldonado.
And so the Angels here in the fifth inning have the top of the lineup: Escobar, Trout, Pujols. Shoemaker, well, all he's done is retired. 12 of the last 13 that he's faced. Escobar was up there with the bases loaded, 2 runs in the second, and hit into a double play, the 8th double play he's bounced into this year, which really took Zim off the hook for the time being. They got another run in the fourth to go up 3-0. One ball and 2 strikes on Yunel Escobar. Chopper up the middle. Kinsler, long way to get it. Quick throw across his body, gets away from Miggy. And Escobar is safe at first.
Ian Kinsler goes up the middle and backhands the ball and surrounds it and throws off balance. And looks like Escobar will be given an infield single.
That'll be the 7th hit of the ball game now for the Angels. That'll bring up Mike Trout. Trout is 0 for 2 and 0 for 6 in the series. Played slightly to pull on the infield. And he popped him up. Third base side, Cabrera. And Trout is retired. They got him on 1 pitch. He is 0 for 3. That'll bring up Pujols. Mike Trout is now 0 for 7 in the series, and it really is amazing, Rod, how the Tigers have been able to handle this guy.
Well, the Tigers have always had good pitching. That much we do know. They have had guys like David Price and Max Scherzer and Anibal Sanchez when he was good. Justin Verlander, of course. Now Michael Fulmer. They've had some outstanding right-handed pitchers, and obviously they presented problems for Mike Trout.
Albert is 0 for 2, fly out, ground out. Inside 1-0.
Albert Pujols sitting on 596 home runs, 4 shy of 600.
He also has 607 doubles in his career. And he'll get to 3,000 hits. He's had 2859 right now. Good pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. .596. Try to hold up, 1 around. 1-2 on Albert. Since the beginning of 2016, nobody has knocked in more runs than Pujols. 144. Including 25 this year.
He was a 13th round draft choice of the Kansas City Royals. St. Louis Cardinals, excuse me.
There's the all-time home run list. Albert continues to climb. He's trying to chase down Sosa. Here's the 1-2. Wouldn't bite. 2-2 on Pujols. Swing and a miss. 2 gone. Strikeout of Pujols. Friday, May 19th, Tigers host the Rangers. 7:10 start, and fans are invited to stay after the game for a fireworks spectacular. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
That will be the first fireworks of the year.
Always a fabulous show.
Yeah, this it is. One of the best in the big leagues.
Two outs now for Valbuena. Solo home run got things started back in the second. And he drills this one down the line and right. JD over there, he cut it off, and he bobbles it. They're going to try and score a run here. And they will. Escobar scores from first. Martinez unable to field it cleanly, and he cost the Tigers a run. It's 4-0.
It's a four-seam fastball. It doesn't do a whole lot. Valbuena hits an absolute missile down the right field line. JD did a nice job getting over there to cut the ball off, but couldn't make a play cleanly. And then by the time he got the ball into Miguel Cabrera, it was too late for Yunel Escobar. You can see Renicky, that's the third base coach. He continues to sit him with that right arm after he recognized J.D. Martinez had a little difficulty with that ball in the corner.
Single E9, no RBI on the play, and Cole Calhoun will get the intentional walk. Angels now lead 4-0. It'll bring up Cameron Maybin. Calhoun had 2 hits in the game. He is given the free pass. Maybin is 0 for 1 with a walk. Ball 1.
Do you know that Cameron had a cousin who went to the University of Tennessee, was drafted by the Detroit Lions in the 4th round? Jalen Maybin.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I read it.
On the 29th of April.
That is keeping the Maybin Motor City connection alive.
Right. I'm sure Cameron will probably make a visit or two to the Motor City to watch him play should he make the team.
2-0 on Maybin. Angels now have 4 runs on 8 hits. Here's the 2-0. Strike called in the outside corner. Bottom of the strike zone as well. Leadoff infield hit for Escobar. They got a couple of big outs. Trout popped up. Pujols struck out, but then the hit by Valbuena and the error by Martinez scored the run. Maybin shoots one on the ground to second. It'll be a routine play for Kinsler. That'll end the inning. Another run scores for the Angels. 5 in the books. Now 4-0. Back to work here in the 6th. And the first one to Castellanos missing. Nick, then Cabrera, then Victor Martinez. Shoemaker's last start against the Astros, he went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 5 runs.
Well, Tiger's going to get a look at him now for the 3rd time. Hopefully they can figure out something against him and get some better swings. He really has not given up any kind of hard contact here tonight. Miguel hit a ball hard to left field, but really not a lot of balls hit hard tonight off Tiger bats.
3rd time through, a 103 batting average.
So it gets better for him. They should have got him earlier.
Nick sitting in a 2-0 count now. Skies this one in the air to center. That'll chase Trout back. He's going to the track, to the wall, and it's going to die into his glove. Man, it looked like he hit that straight up. 1 gone. That'll bring up Cabrera. Miguel singled sharply to left field back in the 3rd, is 1 for 2.
Very few of the outs today and for the Tigers have been made on the ground. And most of their outs have been made either on a strikeout, and by Shoemaker he has 7 of those, or a fly out. Lots of fly outs to the outfield.
Shoemaker now 30 years old. The 16 wins he had as a rookie in 2014 established a rookie record for wins. 14 was the previous high. Frank Tanana had 14, as well as a couple of others. And Miggy looks at a ball that bounces in. Shoemaker's been kicking on the dirt right in front of there on his landing spot. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's kind of methodically just kind of worn right through this Tigers lineup tonight. This ball popped up foul.
Shoemaker will give you that comfortable 0 for 4. You're seeing him good. He's not overpowering. He's not necessarily having a good year, but yet he has shut you down to death.
There's some action now in the bullpen for the Angels. Blake Parker, the right-hander, warming up. Bouncer right back to the mound. Shoemaker handles it. And Cabrera's out 2 away.
Here is our 1-800 call Sam call of the game. We talked about Victor Martinez and the fact he's been beating the shift. Well, it started on the last homestand against his former team, the Cleveland Indians. He bunted successfully for a base hit. And then in Oakland, every single time they would overshift, the Tigers had men in scoring position, and Victor Martinez would beat that shift by hitting the ball the opposite way. And he also did that tonight for a double into left center field. So Victor Martinez has definitely been taking and what the defense has been giving him, and he's been hitting the ball where it's been pitched.
Coming into tonight, 75% of his hits on this road trip have gone to center field the opposite way. Playing to pull again with that shift. Double and a strikeout tonight for Victor. One ball, 1 strike. Bouncing ball right into the shift. Pennington has it on the grass. It's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Shoemaker, who's done a fabulous job tonight for the Angels. Down to the bottom of the sixth inning, Mario and Pemba, Rod Allen back here, and well, Matt Shoemaker, the story tonight. The Tigers really, as you mentioned, not a whole lot of hard contact in this game, and it's been kind of amazing to watch him work.
Well, I talked to the Angel people before the game started, and they said he had been struggling mightily, giving up lots of home runs, walking lots of batters. He's done none of that tonight. The Tigers just can't figure him out. This is now the 5th start, and his ERA is 1 against Tigers bats.
Well, the Tigers still have some time to get things going, but in the meantime, Jordan Zimmerman will go back to the hill.
And meanwhile, Zimmerman has no run support tonight, and he came into the contest tonight having been given some of the best run support in the major leagues.
It'll be Simmons, Maldonado, and Pennington, bottom 3, facing Jordan. 2 balls, no strikes. I think Zim was getting over 6 a game, wasn't he?
He's getting a ton. And the Tigers offense, really in the last 14, 15 games, they've been averaging 6 runs per game.
Simmons a single and a ground out in this contest. Here's the 2-0. That's in the air toward right center field and hit well. JD Martinez going back. He looks up. That ball's off the wall. Romine one-hands it, gets it back in. And it's going to be a leadoff double for Andrelton Simmons.
Well, we talked about Jordan at the beginning of the game and the fact that his fastball has given up a lot of slugging percentage damage this year, and also a lot of right-handers are hitting very well against Jordan Zimmerman for whatever reason. And batting average coming in, righties hitting about 350 against Zim.
Here is Martin Maldonado, the number 8 hitter. He blooped a double down the right field line his last time up, which scored a run. The Angels now have 9 hits in this ball game. And Maldonado trying to bunt him up, bunts it to first. Cabrera shovels it over there, and a barehanded play by Kinsler. They just get the runner there. That is a 3-4 on the sacrifice.
Tigers were not expecting the bunt there from Maldonado. They're up by 4 runs. I don't know if that was a bunt given by the dugout or if he did it on his own, but it looked like that was a sign given from Mike Scioscia. I guess Scioscia wants to get out of grand slam distance. They lead by 4, and a lot of managers, they like to have that 5-run lead late in the game.
Chad Bell warming up now in the Detroit bullpen.
And the one time that we saw Chad Bell, he looked outstanding. And the ball, he made his major league debut just a couple of days ago in Arizona. He had gotten called up, Mario, while the Tigers were still at home before they left to go on the road trip. He didn't pitch in that series against Cleveland. He didn't pitch in Oakland, but he finally made his debut in Arizona.
There's a drive to center, little drive and run. RBI single from the number 9 hitter Cliff Pennington, and it's 5-0 Angels.
So Chad Bell's wife, mom, and dad, and family, well, they followed him to Detroit, then they had to follow him out west, and they had to follow him to Arizona because they wanted to see his major league debut.
They really had no choice, did they?
Yeah, and they've finally gone home now, he said.
Well, that's going to make it 5-0. Now the top of the order coming up, Yunel Escobar, and here comes Rich Doobie.
And I guess that bunt was huge. And by Mike Scioscia giving that sacrifice to Maldonado, the number 8 hitter.
By the way, this weekend is the 6th annual Pink Out the Park when the Tigers host the Orioles at 7:10 p.m. First 10,000 fans get a free Pink Out the Park ball cap. If you'd like tickets, go to tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGERS. Escobar, infield single, run scored. He is 1 for 3.
You got enough pink ties? You got Pink Day coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, I got a pink one that I'm going to wear on Sunday. I better.
You need check. One on next Wednesday, too.
I might have to dip into your closet.
I got a couple for you.
Dude, I might have to. 1-0 on Escobar. Ten hits now for the Angels. Only 3 for the Tigers in this game.
Well, last night it was Michael Fulmer who was just absolutely dominant against the Angels lineup, and today it's been Shoemaker, and that has handcuffed Detroit's offense.
Two in the second, and single runs in each of the last 3 innings for the Halos. Sim wanted that one. It was at the lower reaches of the strike zone. Didn't get the call. 3-0. With Mike Trout waiting on deck. Way outside, ball 4, and that'll put 2 men aboard.
And that probably will be it for them.
Yeah, here goes Brad. So the Tiger skipper wants Chad Bell here. So Bell will come in and face Trout with 2 men on. Then Pujols would be next. Not an easy spot for Bell, but it's going to be a wall side windows pitching change. We'll be back to Anaheim. Yeah, enjoy that police record too for that fan. 5-0 is the score here, and Zim done for the night. Bell comes on to face Trout, who looks at ball 1. Would you ever consider doing anything nutty like that?
Absolutely not.
I thought you were going to stop it. Absolutely. Here are the numbers on Bell. Well, he's only pitched in 1 game. That was in Arizona.
He's got a good arm. His fastball was clocked at 95. I believe he got him to 96. Might have even touched 97. And straight over the top, 3/4 arm slot. Throws straight downhill. Nice little breaking ball there. 88 miles an hour.
So Bell comes in with 2 men on, only 1 out. He's got Trout and then Pujols, unless he gets a double play here.
You have to work up in the strike zone to Mike Trout. Although he's gotten better at taking some of those pitches above the belt buckle, he's still prone to swing at it on occasion. It's already popped up a few times in the series, trying to get to the elevated fastball.
Ball 2, 2-1. Trout, fly out, pop up. Although the ball he hit in the first inning looked like a sure triple, but Romine ran it down in the gap.
Made a nice play.
Otherwise, 0 for 7 in the series for Trout. Line drive, caught, and a quick flip, not in time. Oh, man, Iglesias
Putting on a clinic.
Putting on a show in this series.
Nearly got him. That's great base running by Pennington. Really good base running.
That's a good point, because I didn't think he had a chance of getting back.
Yeah, most guys have been doubled up, and Pennington didn't move. Took one step, realized he knew where Iglesias was. Iglesias flipped with the glove, and they nearly got him.
So Iglesias with a tremendous play. Now here's Pujols. Albert with a fly out, ground out, strikeout. Ooh, look out. Ron Redicky in the coaching box, almost picked off by that line drive.
One more look at the Iglesias play, and leaving his feet, and then before he almost gets down to the ground, he's thinking about flipping that ball to Ian Kinsler. Barehanding, stretching forward, barely got back, did Pennington.
Those two up the middle, man, unbelievable plays that they can make. The 0-1. Albert, slow roller towards short. This will get him out of the inning. But another run in for the Angels on the RBI hit by Pennington. 6 in the books in Anaheim.
The game last night, Jose Iglesias had 8 assists in the contest. He made every single play. He came in, he threw off balance, he went to his left, he went to his right, he went back on balls, and every last one he threw accurately over to first base. He has also made some really nice plays today with that fast glove, and this was nearly a sensational double play to the end of the inning. He finished 3rd in the Gold Glove voting last year. Well, actually, he was a finalist, so I don't know whether he finished 3rd or not. But anyway, if he continues to perform like he's performed in this series, he will win his first Gold Glove as a major leaguer.
Wall side windows, pitching change. Blake Parker is on now for the Halos.
17 games for Parker, 25 punch-outs. He must have a good fastball, obviously. He's only walked 5, so the command not bad.
Well, maybe the Tigers now can do something against the Angels bullpen. They couldn't handle Shoemaker.
You know, we talk about this all the time. As badly as Shoemaker was struggling coming into the game today, he knew that he had a start coming up against the Tigers, and he went to the mound today with a tremendous amount of confidence. He did not look like a struggling pitcher today.
Not at all. In fact, he retired 14 of the final 15 that he faced.
And it's no small sample size now with Shoemaker. It's 5 starts now. His ERA is under 1.
Swing and a miss. Actually 15 of 16 that he faced to end the game or end his start.
And Parker has 3 pitches. Fastball gets up to 95. Average heater about 93. He throws quite a few curveballs, and he also has a split-fingered fastball just like Shoemaker, who pitched 6 really good innings against the Tigers tonight.
He's got a 14 strikeout per 9 rate.
Yeah, he's got 25 of them in just 17 innings.
Fly ball, right field. That ball is hit deep. Going to the track, going to the wall. Leaping, can't get it. It's off the wall, and Upton is going to pull in with a double.
I just love the way that J.Op. has been spinning that ball off his bat. Every single swing that he takes, it appears he's got that outstanding backspin, whether it's going to center field or in this case right field. And J.Up. usually doesn't go to right field with this kind of authority, but he's seen the baseball well these days. That was 93 upstairs. Almost a great play by a Cole Calhoun.
Now here is Martinez. JD a strikeout and a single in his return. And he looks at a ball outside, 1-0.
And JD was technically 4 for 26 on a rehab assignment with a couple of home runs. Those at-bats were in A-ball and also AAA. But before he went to A-ball, he had a lot of at-bats in extended spring training. As a matter of fact, JD had 1 game in extended spring training where he led off all 9 innings.
Right.
You can do that in the minor leagues in extended spring training where the games really don't count for much.
But at bats at extended and in the minor leagues are not quite the same as big league at bats.
No, they're not the same, but it's really all that you can do because you can't simulate major league at bats, so you just have to simply see some pitches. And then once you get to the big leagues, you have to start to make some adjustments because obviously guys up here have better control, better command, and guys know your weaknesses up here too.
One and two on JD Martinez. Parker big league time with the Cubs, Seattle, and the Yankees. Seattle and New York last year. Here's the 1-2. And JD takes the ball down low, 2-2.
If you weren't with us earlier, I told you a story about JD, and he was talking about the foot that he hurt, which is his back foot, and which is the foot that he turns on and when he does his damage. And he says it's going to be a little sore for a while, but it's just something that he has to play through. He said the doctors assured him he really couldn't do anything worse to it.
Just manage the pain. Now the 2-2 and a foul ball. Just got a piece of it. Avila waiting on deck. Tigers have just picked up only their 4th hit, the double by Upton to lead things off here in the 7th. As you look at the Tigers box score. Parker wanted it just a tad low, and now it's gone full at 3-2.
Everything for the most part thrown to the pitch sequence by Parker has been down in the strike zone. You can see it there on Fox Tracks. Fastballs down, split-fingered fastballs are down as well, along with the slider.
And he got him, strike 3.
Frozen.
On the outside corner, 1 gone. Menards brings you the big money encounter as Alex Avila comes rolling in here, and Avila the highest on base percentage among catchers since 2010.
Some pretty good catchers on that list. Buster Posey, Carlos Ruiz, Montero, and Yadier. Alex right in the middle of them.
Alex has always had a good eye. On base percentage is awfully good this year. 1 on, 1 out. Ball 1 to Avila.
And that last fastball thrown by Parker, swing back variety at 94. JD knew it and was already headed back to the dugout before Mark Wegner even and brought the right hand up.
Two 2-0 on Avila.
If you're Justin Upton at second base, you have to know exactly where Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop, is playing you. And that way, on a ball hit right back up the middle, you know that you really can't go to third base if it's hit sharply because he's standing right there. That's why, as a base runner, every single pitch, you have to look around to see where the infielders and the outfielders are and if any of them have moved from the previous pitch. And you'd be surprised how much it really helps you when there's like the little tweener, a little ball that you really can't get a good judge on.
Sure.
You know where they're at, so you can get a better jump.
Now Avila has run the count to 3-0. Parker has stayed away from him. Wanted the call last time, but didn't get it. Just barely missed.
And Tigers down by 5. They need base runners. More than likely, Avila will be taken here.
Romine on deck. And he walked him on 4 straight. That'll put 2 men on. Fans, don't miss out on the LPGA Volvic Championship Play with a Pro sweepstakes. Now's your chance to attend the pairings party and play 18 holes of golf alongside LPGA professionals at the Travis Point Country Club on May 24th. For your chance to win, enter at foxsportsdetroit.com. Well, 2 on now. Tigers trying to claw their way back in this game, down 5-0 in the 7th.
And Tigers have some pop on their bench. And James McCann didn't start in the game. He's been swinging a hot stick lately.
Romine, a ground ball and a fly ball. Andrew rolls one right back up the middle, right at the bag at second. There's 1 and there's 2. Johnny in the spot. Simmons turns the double play, and just like that, the inning is over. Coming up, the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch. A showstopper, Joey Gallo of the Rangers has big-time power, and he walked him off tonight as the Rangers beat Oakland. A walk-off 3-run homer. The Rangers desperately needed that. They came in 8.5 behind Houston.
Yeah. That's a scary team, though. That Rangers team, once they get all their pieces back, they really haven't had Beltre healthy all season long. Once they get healthy, it's going to be a pretty good team. They also had some struggles with their closer at the beginning of the season, Dyson.
Valbuena will lead things off, then Calhoun and Maben. 5-0 Angels lead. We're in the bottom of the 7th here in Anaheim. Chad Bell came on, got a couple of outs in the 6th. Not just a couple of outs, he got Trout and Pujols.
A couple of real nice benders thrown by Bell at 80 miles an hour. And he throws his fastball at 95, so he's giving you the same arm speed from the same arm slot. Breaking ball at 80, fastball at 95.
One ball and 2 strikes. Luis Valbuena homered in the 2nd, hit a line drive single in the 5th that was misplayed by Martinez in right, allowing a run to score. Here's the 1-2. Line drive back up the middle into center field, base hit.
He was ahead of him 0-2.
Now Valbuena gives the Angels their 11th hit.
It's the 3rd hit of the day for Valbuena. He got ahead of him with a couple of really good breaking balls, and he decided to throw a fastball by Valbuena, and Valbuena with a bat flip on a single.
Bat flipping everything these days.
You see that?
I did.
He's bat flipping on a single.
Here's Cole Calhoun.
Who was that in Houston a few years ago? They had that
I was trying to think of it.
base hit and had that bat
it was
flip.
like a catcher or
It
something.
was. I forget who it was. It wasn't Castro. It was that.
No.
It was a backup catcher.
He had a base hit. Forgot who he got it off.
It was a huge bat flip too.
Yeah, right. It wasn't just a mini one. One ball to no strikes. That ball is hammered to right field, but right at JD.
Left-handers really shouldn't be making this kind of hard contact against Bell. He needs to make sure when he throws that breaking ball up there and get it away from the left-hander, just as he was able to do against Valbuena in the first 2 pitches to get ahead of him. No balls and 2 strikes.
Carlos Corcoran.
That's exactly who it was.
Yeah, he was the backup catcher. He singled and had a major bat flip.
And they were losing by like 8 or 9.
And that was the kicker. They were down by a ton of runs, too. It's not like he started some big rally. Here's Maben.
Oh, Cam is struggling a little bit, buddy, right now.
Well, we haven't seen him all season, obviously. It's the first time we've seen Maben, but man, when he was in the Tigers lineup last year, he was putting the ball in play. He gave the Tigers a ton of energy.
I talked to Cam in spring training. I went over and watched him play a game in Tempe one day during the course of spring when I wasn't down in Florida. And he said, man, was he comfortable last year playing for the Tigers, batting second ahead of Miguel Cabrera. Lots of fastballs to hit. Kinsler was always on base. He had a great time. He had a great year. He had his best year as a pro.
Which is probably the most valid point. The lineup he was in last year was much longer and deeper than the one he's in this year. I mean, when you're hitting ahead of Mr. Cabrera, that's a pretty good spot.
And Tigers did Cam a favor as well because they signed him. They picked up his option and then they traded him to the Angels. Whereas had they kept him, they may not have picked up that option. So they did him a favor by trading him to the Angels.
Maybe on base twice in this one. Walk and a fielder's choice. Run scored. Swing and a miss. So Bell comes back and gets a strikeout and a line out after the single.
It's a changeup, and a good changeup, down and away. And from Cam Maben at 86, thrown by Chad.
Simmons, a single, a double, and a run scored tonight for the Angels. 11 Halos hits tonight. Simmons had the double to lead off the 6th and then scored a run. That made it 5-0 for the Angels. Two and 0. Two more to go here in Anaheim before the Tigers come back home. An off day on Monday.
A well-deserved off day on Monday after a lengthy road trip.
Whistled foul.
And then on Tuesday, that's the analytic broadcast, right?
It is, with the Orioles in town.
Introduce the fans to some of the terminology and definitions of some of the terms used in this new age of baseball.
Now the 2-1. Huge swing there by Simmons. Now Bell ready with the 2-2. That'll get back out of play. Well, that telecast coming your way when the Tigers come back home on Tuesday. Let's look at the Angels box score. Got a lot of production from the bottom of their lineup. 6 p.m. on Fox Sports Detroit. You'll hear from Jay Sartori, who's the Tigers senior director of baseball analytics and operations, and I'm sure he'll be able to explain a lot of what the Tigers are attempting to do. They have really beefed up their analytics department when Al Avila took over. That was one of the main things that Al wanted to beef up for this organization while still maintaining the scouting aspect and blending the two.
Yeah, Al comes from a scouting background. His dad, Ralph Avila, was a long-time scout in the Dodgers organization. So there is a part of what Al likes to do, the eye test, along with some of the numbers. Tigers have some outstanding scouts that have been with Al a number of years. Dick Egan, Scott Reed, to name a couple. Scott Bream is on the trip here as well.
Ground ball to third, backhanded pick by Castellanos, threw to the dirt, and Miggy comes off but held on.
Thank you very much, Miggy.
Ooh, Cabrera was able to hold that big toe on before he fell off the bag.
Socha's holding him.
Yeah, Socha might want to look at this. I think Cabrera did hold on and then fell off. Tigers are walking off the field, and Socha apparently has waved it off. So that'll take care of the Angels here in the 7th. We'll go to the 8th inning. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire.
Started for the Halos tonight and dominated the Tigers for the 5th consecutive start that he's had against them. His fastball topped out at 94, and that was his best fastball. But in between that, lots of split-fingered fastballs, lots of off-speed pitches. Only 4 hits to Tigers bats, who were awfully hot in last night's game. 3 hits, excuse me. 7 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched today for the Michigan native.
So here come the Tigers now in the 8th, down 5-0. Iglesias will lead it off. Ball side windows, pitching change, David Hernandez.
Good numbers so far for Hernandez. The ERA sits at 1. The whip is under a half a point, and he's got 10 strikeouts, and he has not walked a batter.
Angels picked him up in a trade with the Braves that was consummated in late April. Iglesias sold for 2, popped up and has flied out as well. Swing and a miss.
Good slide piece there thrown by Hernandez.
And you remember Hernandez, as you look at Sanchez in the pen, broke in with the Orioles.
As a starter.
As a starter, indeed.
Hard thrower back then.
And then 1 year into his tenure with Baltimore, went to the bullpen. It's been there since. Baltimore, Arizona, Philadelphia. And again, they got him from the Braves. He was pitching in the minor leagues for the Braves. Bouncing ball right side. Pennington scooting left. Iglesias sold for 3. 1 gone here in the 8th. MLB.com Advantage, your #1 mobile app for live Tigers baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Tigers home screen icons, app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, broadcasts of the radio variety, and a whole lot more. MLB.com at bat. Get it today. Here's Kinsler now with 1 out. Ian 0 for 3 after posting 3 hits in the opener last night. Bender drops in for a strike.
And Hernandez, lots of sliders these days. And when he first came to the big leagues, he had a power arm. His fastball got up to 98 miles an hour. And when he broke in with Baltimore.
0-2.
He's kind of found his niche in the bullpen these days. Pitched really well for Arizona a couple years back. Out of their bullpen, pitched for Gibby, I believe.
It was in Arizona 11, 12, and 13.
That would have been one of Gibby's years.
0-2 on Kinsler. Outside. '74 appearances in 2011, 72 appearances the next year.
He did pretty well, though, didn't he?
Yeah, sure did. The ERA was 2.5 in 2012. He stayed away again. This time Kinsler laid off.
It's funny how some guys come to the big leagues, high round draft choices, as Hernandez was. You throw hard, but once you get to the big leagues, you just can't find those secondary pitches which would allow you to stay in the rotation. So you go to the bullpen, and you can work out of the bullpen with 2+ pitches, where it's hard to work as a starter with just 2 pitches. I mean, you can win with 2 pitches in the big leagues, but if you've got 3 good pitches like a Fulmer, like a Verlander, you can dominate in the big leagues.
You know, we were talking about that before the game with Brad concerning Daniel Norris, and now he's thrown, you know, fastball slider. They want him to throw his curveball a little bit more.
Yeah. He's got a good curveball. And he's got a plus changeup, too.
Slap down the right field line. It is slicing, foul.
But Brad said part of that is on the catchers, because Daniel's one of those guys that never shakes off.
Right.
I mean, whatever sign Avila puts down or whatever sign James McCann puts down, Daniel throws that pitch. So he said it's up to Avila and James McCann to start mixing in and incorporating a few more breaking pitches while Daniel's out there, and Daniel will be out there tomorrow night.
Ausmus said in his 18-year career he had about maybe 12 pitches called for him from the bench. Everything else he called. That's the catcher's role.
I just think Daniel is so close to just taking off and just having a superb career.
Agreed. Ball popped in the air to shallow left. A little stagger there by Maben, but he made the play. Here is the upcoming matchup tomorrow, presented by Wallside Windows. Ricky Nolasco will go for the Angels. Daniel Norris for the Tigers.
Ricky Nolasco was outstanding in his last outing against the Oakland Athletics. He had a bunch of strikeouts. He had a good sinker, good curveball. And he'll be going up against the Tigers. And Daniel Norris will be opposing Ricky Nolasco. And Daniel's still trying to put it all together. He has shown you flashes of brilliance. Ricky Nolasco, last few times the Tigers have seen him when he was with Minnesota, boatload of breaking balls. I mean, a ton of breaking balls from every arm slot imaginable.
It's that breaking ball again from Hernandez, 0-1. Castellanos, a couple of strikeouts and a flyout. Tigers only 4 hits in this game. They were pretty much shut down by the starter Matt Shoemaker. He retired 15 of the final 16 that he faced. Now it's 0-2 on Nick.
And Hernandez doing a pretty nice job of mixing up his pitches. And he started Nicholas off with that breaking ball that Nicholas had that huge swing at. And then he came back with a good fastball and outside painted it. Hernandez not challenging anybody inside. Fastballs away, breaking balls away. Maldonado, the catcher, setting up away again.
Shallow center field. Trout coming on, and it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Hernandez. On our way to the bottom of the 8th at the Big A. Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. Back here in Southern California as we go to the bottom of the 8th. It is all Angels tonight. They lead 5-0. Tigers have only 4 hits to their credit tonight. And we've got a new Tigers pitcher, and it's going to be in a Wallside Windows pitching change, Anibal Sanchez.
Well, Anibal Sanchez needs a clean inning for his confidence. Last time he got the ball in Arizona a couple of days ago, he gave up a couple of home runs, and for whatever reason the last couple of years Anibal Sanchez just cannot keep the ball in the ballpark.
Chad Bell goes an inning and 2/3 scoreless baseball. A swing and a miss by Maldonado.
And Tigers had a big lead in last night's game. Brad took the liberty of giving Francisco Rodriguez an inning, and Rodriguez did well. And Anibal Sanchez needs to do the same thing.
Maldonado, Pennington, and then Escobar. 8, 9, and 1. That breaks on the inside part of the plate, and now the count is 0-2. Three RBIs from their 8 and 9 guys tonight for the Angels. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss, and Maldonado is out of there. One away. Here's Pennington. 2 singles, 2 RBIs for Pennington. Tigers in the 9th will have Cabrera, Martinez, Upton.
And second consecutive day that Pennington has gotten a start. And Danny Espinosa, their second baseman, I mean, he's mired in a
Horrible.
0 for 37 type slump, something ridiculous, and he can't get out of his own way right now.
There's a ground ball, base hit right field, and Pennington has his 3rd hit.
Yeah, and Pennington just continues to hit, so the Espinosa might have to sit again tomorrow night.
I think Espinosa's like 1 shy of tying the franchise record for Ofer.
Yeah, he's way up there.
0 for 34 is what he is. I think Reggie was 0 for 35.
Okay.
1 year. So yeah, I mean, it looks like Pennington, the 3-hit effort tonight, and 4 hits in the series.
And sometimes when you're going through what Espinosa's going through, you just need to sit on the bench for a while and just kind of take things in and see what's going on, and then you could pick up something that's going on in the field that might trigger something in your game. Remember last year when Brad gave Castellanos that timeout for about 3 days?
Sure worked.
Came back. No, Justin Upton
It was
too.
Justin Upton, yeah. Well, yeah, both of them, right?
Yeah. Well, Castellanos was the year before.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And Justin was last year. Sat him down for 3 days.
Did you call it a timeout?
I did. Sit over here next to me.
Put him in the corner?
Put him in the corner. Come over and sit next to me.
But Norris, their closer, is warming up.
Man, this is a makeshift bullpen here. But they got guys from everywhere.
It is a makeshift pen with all the injuries they've had.
There was a time when Bud Norris was a real good starter too in Houston. Good arm, good breaking stuff. Went to Baltimore.
To center field, Romine cruising back. 2 gone. Now Mike Trout. Who is 0 for 8 in the series, and keep in mind that's on the heels of a 17-game hitting streak.
Well, you just hope that they can continue to keep him at bay, because you know sooner or later Mike Trout is going to bust out in a big way. You just hope it's after Mother's Day.
Sanchez missing low. Trout's 17-gamer came to an end last night when he was 0 for 4.
He's put together like a middle linebacker.
The 1-0. Driven deep to left center field, way back, and Mike Trout has just hit it out.
Well, you knew sooner or later he would get loose, and for whatever reason, and I told you when Anibal entered the game, he just can't keep it in the ballpark.
Crush that thing. A 2-run shot for Trout, 7-0 Angels. Sanchez allows yet another homer. So Trout busting out of that 0 for 8. That's his 9th. Here is Pujols. Strike 1. Albert is 0 for 4 tonight. They are shifting against him. It'll dart low. 1 ball and 1 strike on Pujols. What hurts with these Sanchez outings, Rod, is that somewhat manageable scores late are turning into big deficits where it's really demoralizing.
Well, it's getting to the point now where Brad is just having a difficult time of where to use Andy Bohm.
Yeah, you're right. When you're down 5-0 and you've got Cabrera, Martinez, and Upton coming up, you think, well, who knows? There's a possibility.
And it's not like Sanchez is not putting in the work. I mean, I see him out here every single day working with Rich Doobie, working on arm slot, playing long toss, trying to regain the arm strength in the right arm. But for whatever reason, when he gets on the mound, he's just not finishing his pitches, and therefore the last calendar year, 2 years really, they've had their way with Andy Bohm.
Fouled off. Pujols stays alive. That is 9 home runs for Sanchez in a little over 18 innings.
Ooh, man, that's 1 every 2 innings.
2-2.
9 home runs probably leads the squad too.
Low 3-2. Seven runs on 13 hits now for the Angels. Tigers limited to just 4 hits tonight.
Yes, Sanchez has given up 9 homers, and Jordan Zimmerman has given up 9 homers too.
That ball pulled right by the shortstop Iglesias.
Ball hit so hard, even though the Tigers had 3 defenders on the left side of the infield. Pujols still able to hit it past Iglesias. Albert's become a much more of a pull hitter in the twilight of his career.
Going to get a runner now for Pujols. He's out of the game. Danny Espinosa, the aforementioned Danny Espinosa, bench running. Now Valbuena. Single homer tonight for Valbuena. The home run that he hit was hit off the starter Zimmerman in the second solo shot to lead off the inning. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Tigers went with Bell for an inning and 2/3, and now Sanchez here in the 8th. Darting low. 2-1. Valbuena, former member of the Astros. Seattle and Cleveland as well. Swing and a miss. 2-2. Slap foul out of play. Two and two on Luis Valbuena. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. That'll end the inning, but a 2-run homer by Mike Trout has lengthened the lead. We go to the ninth, 7-0. Top of the ninth, Tigers down to the final 3 outs, trailing 7-0, and we've got a pitching change. It'll be Kenyon Middleton coming in.
Yeah, we saw Middleton in last night's game. He's got an arm that fastball gets up to about 95 miles an hour. You can see in the 4 games he's been in the big leagues, he's only given up a couple of earned runs. The ERA sits at 2.67.
Rivera takes a hack at the first one and fouls it back. Other changes. Mabin will move to center field. Trout is out of the game, and Ben Revere now is the new left fielder. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Middleton came in the game last night and had trouble throwing strikes. He pitched in the 9th and walked 2 batters, actually 3 batters. Keep up an RBI single as well.
And a good opportunity for him to get right back out there tonight and to get last night's taste out of his mouth. I know that's what Mike Scioscia's thinking.
That ball hammered to center field. Going back is Mabin. He'll go to the warning track. Run away. Now Victor Martinez. Vimar tonight a double, a strikeout and a ground out. Tigers have not had too many chances. They have 4 hits, and when you look back at this game, Rod, you look back at a bases loaded, nobody out situation in the 2nd.
No question about that. I mean, that allowed Shoemaker to settle in. He was on the ropes. He had been coming in struggling.
Fly ball center field. Mabin coming in for this one. 2 gone.
And once they let him off the hook in the 2nd inning, he just continued to gain momentum and confidence. And once his team scored a few runs for him, this one was over.
So it's going to be Upton now with 2 outs. Jay up with a double, a walk, and a strikeout. In that second, the Tigers loaded him up, and then Shoemaker got a strikeout, a ground out, forced it home plate, and a flyout. And really, that was it for the Tigers in terms of big time opportunities. Strike one on Upton. Here's Daniel Norris. He will throw tomorrow in Game 3 against Ricky Nolasco.
And Tigers are going to have to fight tomorrow to make sure they get some balls up in the strike zone against Nolasco. He's one of those guys that pitches backwards. And he will throw you breaking balls in fastball counts. And when you think you're going to get that fastball, and he'll do the opposite. Lots of breaking balls, different arm slots.
The 1-1. Popped him up. Should do it. Who wants it? Pennington. And the Angels win the second game of the series. A shutout tonight, 7-0 over the Tigers. Now we send you to the Call Sam Studios. Matt Shepard standing by with Tigers Live postgame.